Back with us here on Chartbusters, continuing with corporate conversations. Then now Prabhudas Leeladhar has initiated coverage on packaging firm EPL, and they have issued a buy call on the back of strong growth prospects. We have Anand Kripalu, who is the managing director and global CEO of EPL, who is joining in to discuss the company's road ahead in greater detail. Mr. Kripalu, good morning. Thank you so much for joining in. You know, one of this, the domestic brokerage has highlighted in its note that your company is well positioned to capitalize on the increasing demand in the laminated tube business. Now, how much of your overall business is this laminated tube segment, and what is the kind of demand that you are experiencing in the current quarter so far?
Well, thank you for having me on this program today. And you're right, we are predominantly a laminated tube player. And really, the dominant part of our business is laminated tubes. That is really our main strategic focus. But what I want to say before I really comment, and I won't comment too much about this quarter per se, is that we've seen reasonably good demand around the world in the previous quarter. And all this is driven through our vision, which is to be the most sustainable packaging company in the world. And, you know, for us, this is not just a line or a statement on a chart. It's something that penetrates through the entire business, into the soul of our business. We also believe it's not just the right thing to do, but also it will be our biggest source of competitive advantage over the next decade as more and more companies go sustainable. So as far as we're concerned, we've given a guidance of double-digit growth, sustainable double-digit growth with 20+ margins, and really that's what we are focused on delivering.
Hi, Mr. Kripalu. Good morning and good to see you in. This is Nigel on this side. Double-digit, you want to give us a further insight? Will it be low double-digit, mid double-digit, or high double-digit? If you could help us out, because the start to the year has been very, very good. You've done double digits of close to around 11%. And also your margins are in that vicinity of 18 to 19%, but you'll have a couple of levers as well. You've done some cost focus measures as well as I think in a couple of other units as well to reduce the cost. So margins in excess of 20% for this year on an average?
Well, I'm not going to commit exactly when, but if you look at our trajectory of margin improvement, I think I'd like to believe that it is sooner rather than later, right? So it should happen definitely over the next few quarters. As far as growth is concerned, we have historically been a kind of mid to high single-digit growth company. And the first guidance we gave and the focus of our strategy was to say, how can we accelerate that and get into the double-digit zone? And you're absolutely right. We've demonstrated that in the last quarter, albeit just above the double-digit mark. I don't want to push the boundaries at this stage of saying we'll be more than just double-digit. But what I can tell you is that there is a lot of healthy dissatisfaction in the company. As we get sustainable double-digit growth, we will keep raising the bar.
Okay. All right. Also, if you could give us a couple of numbers, if you had to put a number to the market share that you'll enjoy, could you tell us what is that? And I guess you're growing faster than the industry.
Oh, yes. We believe that we are growing faster than the industry. Now, we don't have precise numbers for global shares like you get through Nielsen and so on for fast-moving consumer goods. But what I can tell you is that broadly 1 in 3 toothpaste tubes in the world is ours. Okay? So it's a 35-ish market share. If you look at the other key sectors, beauty and cosmetics, BPC, and pharmaceuticals, we are kind of just about 10% market share. So really the focus of our strategy is to selectively build market share with oral and continue to go faster in the category, but to create discontinuities in growth in places where we have higher headroom, which is BPC as well as pharmaceuticals.
You know, Mr. Kripalu, I'll just get to the Brazilian aspect of your business in just a bit, but I wanted to ask you about the sustainable tubes business. It was around 29% of your volumes in the first quarter. Do you see that number going up as the year goes by?
For sure. And, there are a few components to sustainability. One is, of course, the product itself and the tubes. The other is people and process sustainability, which also we are very focused on. Now, this acceleration of tube conversion is, directed by our customers wanting to convert and our ability to have technology and supply capability to meet that demand. And the good news is we are one step ahead of everybody else in our readiness. And therefore, we are also seeing some wallet share gains happening as customers convert. So this 29% of the last quarter will absolutely rapidly accelerate pretty much with every quarter as this year goes. And over the next couple of years, I think we'll be predominantly a sustainable tube company.
By the end of the year, do you see that number going up to say 30, 35%, maybe even 40?
Well, I think the exit will certainly be in the 30s and maybe even the high 30s. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Got it. There were some supply side issues that you had briefly mentioned in the first quarter as well. Has that got ironed out?
Those have got ironed out, and there is more about capacity expansion and some of our equipment getting a little delayed on because of Red Sea and the sea freight challenges that everybody has been experiencing and the delays on that. So I think that's broadly ironed out as we have gotten into this quarter.
What about your capacity addition plans from here on? When do you lay that out? Because growth is looking good, demand is solid. You want to grab a higher part of market share. So I'm guessing that could, at some point of time, you'll be looking to increase capacity as well.
And that's something we continuously do. We typically invest capex broadly equal to our depreciation every year. And we are a reasonably capital intensive company. Over the next 18 months or so, I think we will be adding capacity for about another 1 billion tubes. Okay. And I would say half of that will come from debottlenecking and better utilization of existing assets. And the other half will probably come from new assets, largely brownfield. We don't have any other greenfield around the corner at this stage. So it will largely come from brownfield expansion.
And how much do you plan to spend on that, Mr. Kripalu, for this expansion, part one? And part two, since due to paucity of time, I'm squeezing in the Brazilian bit as well. The last time you spoke to us, you mentioned that if the utilization in Brazil goes up to 80%, you will expand capacities there. What is the current utilization there, and when do you expect to get to that 80% mark?
So we spend about 350, 380 crores on capex, and you can assume half of that will go, or a little over half of that will go into capacity expansion. Okay. As far as Brazil is concerned, I mean, we're very pleased with the way things are ramping up. I can tell you this, that we have started conversations to evaluate expansion. We haven't taken any decision yet, but I think we are beginning to approach the threshold of utilization as well as increasing demand from new customers. So I think we should be hearing more news about this in the foreseeable future.
By when is that, sir?
I can't commit a date. We're still doing the work. We're still looking for customer demand. In this industry, you don't go and just put capacity and then wait for customers to come, all right? Because it's high capex. What you try and do is to make sure that you get commitments from customers. It may not be a hard contract, but at least commitments. And then what you do is you put in manufacturing lines. And in our Brazil plant, which is modular, we have the utilities, we have the civil work. We just need to put in the lines. And that is like a 9-month kind of project.
All right, Mr. Kripalu, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining in and sharing with us your views on the road ahead for the company. That was the management there of EPL on the road ahead. Let's now also get you an exclusive. Sources